Welcome back to another edition of Locked on Astros. We're going to break down a comparison between Corbin Burns and Framber Valdez. How does Corbin's contract affect Framber? And look at three specific targets that we think are realistic for the Astros to get, and whatever else hits the table. Let's talk about it right now.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked on Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked on Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
We are Locked on Houston Astros, so we hope that you join us for a daily Locked on Astros podcast. My name is Eric Heisman. You can find me on X at Eric Talks Astros. You find the show at Locked on Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Stros411 on X and on Facebook. That's Stros with a Z. And at Back to the Bullpen on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, and iHeartRadio, where I'm always positive, always Stros.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked on Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check us out. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get into regular season action with FanDuel, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started today. So I know that Texans, that was a disaster of a game on Christmas Day. So hopefully they're able to kind of put up some type of showing in the playoffs. But if you want to go watch this or put some betting down, just go to FanDuel.
I was wondering why you were leading off with that. I was like, good Lord, why did you you just took the wind out of our sails, Eric. We want to talk about Framber Valdez coming back, because I've changed my tune a little bit on this, Eric. I really see when you look around the league, if you can have a Framber Valdez for the next 5 years, I think he performs better over the next 5 years than Corbin Burns. And I think with him and Hunter Brown as your 1-2 punch, I think that's a pretty solid 1-2 punch. I've gone through, I've looked at his years, I've looked at his service time. And before I get too deep into it, here are their numbers side by side. And for those of y'all that are listening, I'm going to read off some of these numbers, not every single one of them. So you have to get to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and check it out. So Corbin Burns is in green in just about every category. He's got 7.2 WAR versus Framber's 15. You look at innings started. Innings pitched, 903 for Burns versus 888 for Framber. That's an interesting number. Framber has 8 more wins with 68. He has a slightly higher ERA, a lower ERA plus, which you want a little bit higher ERA plus. He has 200 more strikeouts. So his command is a little bit better. His K percentage is 5% higher. His base on balls percentage is 1.7%. And then you've got the big one, 4 All-Stars, 1 Cy Young, and 1 ERA title. Of course, you have the 2022 World Series championship. You have Framber Valdez, who has the consecutive inning streak. You have Framber Valdez, who has been a part of a no-hitter and all these things in between. And when you look at them comparatively, they're actually really, really close, Eric. Both of these guys are, they are your big body pitchers. They can eat innings. They can last. You don't have to worry about Framber going out in 4 or 5. Like, he can go 7. He can go 8. And you're wondering, though, this next year, since this is quote unquote his walk year, if they don't do what I think they could do, if they don't sign him in the offseason, which I doubt they will this year, this is a highly motivating year for Framber Valdez. And before I get into any contract stuff, what do you think? Don't you see Framber as one of the few pitchers, one of the maybe 15 or 20 pitchers that can eat as many innings as he eats, and over the next 5 years be sustainable and be consistently and produce consistently?
Well, I think Jay brings up a good point. If you put him in another clubhouse, he may not be able to sustain his success. Maybe that, like, especially in a different atmosphere. Imagine him playing in New York in front of the New York fans. They'll crucify him. And so it's just a whole different situation. We know who Framber Valdez is as a fan base. We know that he's got his issues, and when he's on, he could be one of the best pitchers in the game. And when he's off, he's a little bit off. And so I think that of all the teams that would probably do what it takes to get it done, it's the Astros. But I don't think that they're going to go what Corbin Burns is going to get, what got. But if you're looking at what Framber Valdez is likely going to make this next year, it's 18.8 in arbitration. And then he's probably from there. If you look at what Spotrack's saying, it's $23.6 million per season. They're only projecting about a 3-year contract, and they kind of give a couple of comps. They comp them to Burns before this year, also Musgrove, Sonny Gray, and Pablo Lopez. About this before, but I think that with the market, with the way things are going for not just pitchers, but I think that you're gonna, in order to get Framber Valdez, it's going to take a lot more than just 3 years. I think that's what the Astros would like to do. But I think with somebody, he's 31 years old. He'll be a free agent when he's 32. So that means he'll have at least a good number, at least 6 more years. So I think he'll look for a 4 to 5 year deal.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I want to talk a little bit about the market conditions now versus then when he's going to be available, and just his overall durability. So Burns signed this year. It was a robust free agent market, right? There was elite pitching talent. You had Fried, you had other guys sign big contracts. And so I think if that market stays strong, then Framber could get a massive payday. But I think going into this next year, even with knowing like where he's at, what other pitchers have gotten, his durability and consistency will be a key negotiating factor. But also the fact that he has not been able to win a Cy Young may tamp down a more lucrative deal. Like if he would have won a Cy Young in 2022, I think that would have boosted him, or if he would have won in 23 or whatever. And so we know he's got durability. We know he's got consistency, but I think the lack of all like accolades like a Cy Young kind of hurts that a little bit. They're also going to look at the WAR numbers, and they're going to compare Burns to him. And if his WAR is lower total than Burns, they're going to use that against them. But Jay does bring up a good point, and you highlighted it earlier about his I'm going to say lack of mental fortitude. You would hope that going into his 32nd year that he would grow out of that. But then again, like, we are who we are, right? I mean, you and I as people, everybody listening as people, we're always trying to improve, make ourselves better. But at the end of the day, we ultimately are who we are, and we're just trying to be the best version of ourselves. And I think Framber Valdez being in Houston, to me, makes a lot of sense. I think giving him a 5-year contract, look, to me, it's not hard to sell the idea of a 5-year contract. You literally gave a 5-year contract to a pitcher that hasn't thrown in 2 years in Lance McCullers Jr. You have a guy in Framber Valdez who does not deal with injuries, who lasts long times, who has the accolades, who has shown you he can do it. Yes, he's had a couple mental meltdowns on the mound, but overall, anybody would want Framber on their team. And I just don't think he fits anywhere else. So, Eric, I think he's going to get somewhere between the range of 150 and 180 million. If he gets 180 over 5, that's 36 million a year. He would be making more than Corbin Burns. And let me show you Corbin's contract, even though I think it's going to be differently structured. Corbin Burns' contract, 6 years, 210, 60 million deferred. He gets 10 million for each season to be paid immediately following the contract of his career. He has a full no trade clause. He can opt out after 2026. He has a 14 no team trade clause, and it is the largest contract the Diamondbacks have signed in their history. The other 2 large contracts were Randy Johnson, 4 for $52.4 million, and Zach Greinke, 6 years for $206 million. So they have signed this is the largest contract they've signed. They've deferred, and guess what? They weren't the Dodgers. They weren't the Mets. They weren't the Yankees. They weren't one of the big clubs. So I don't know that they need deferred money in his deal, but that could be something that they look at for the first time to keep because these pitchers are not falling off trees these days. They are becoming fewer and fewer as we go throughout baseball history.
I do agree that the market for starting pitching is at an all-time high, but that's some pretty big numbers. We'll have to continue this conversation next.
If you're ready to start your financial life and launch it into the stratosphere, stop paying for subscriptions that you have two of. That's right. That's what I did. I've got all these subscriptions that I have that I didn't realize I was paying double on some, and Rocket Money took out all that stuff. It's a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings, so you can grow your financial freedom. That's right. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members of up to $740 a year using the app's premium features. For me, the best feature is the subscription tracker. You can cancel unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. Get Rocket Money now.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe to us. Make his first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check us out. So Brett, before the break, you're talking about Framber Valdez's what you would offer. Can you repeat the numbers that you were saying?
Well, I was just saying, I think between the range of 150 and 180, if you gave him 180 for the 5 years, it would be a large contract. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get that, but I'm saying the range is going to be 150 to 180. So if you give him 150 for 5 years, that's $30 million. I think between 25 and 30 is realistically more where he lands, but of course they're going to shoot high. I mean, Corbin Burns, his camp came out and said, we want 245. He got 210. That's 35 million off the mark. So, and that's what we call a gap. You know, there is a massive gap between, Pete Alonso and the Mets, and it's about 50 million. Some people are saying it's close to 80 million gap. So what is the gap? Does he set his bar high at 180 and do the Astros offer him at 150, 155? I think that's the more realistic choice.
And like we were talking about on the last podcast, I still have this card here. So you have this Craig Biggio card. It's about how much somebody will pay for it. And will somebody pay that much? Like Corbin Burns, you just made the case. You said that he won a Cy Young. He has all this. He has this all this much more success in his career than Framber Valdez does. We've also experienced what Valdez has done this whole second half of one season. He was totally MIA outside of that no-hitter where he just looked like he was a shell of himself. And so I just don't know if anybody's going to shell out $30+ million a season for him. I could see right around 30 million, but I don't see him going above that. But it's about what the market says. And the market depends on, for the market for outfielders right now, it's sky high because of what happened with Juan Soto. I think what you saw with Max Fried and Corbin Burns this year and some other names, you're seeing the market for starting pitchers go really high right now. And so I think that what does that mean for Framber Valdez? I think that the Astros have decided to keep him around because they do think they have a chance to re-sign him. They do think that they have the relationship and the means now that Bregman's no longer in the picture. They have the means to go ahead and do this. You have all this salary coming off the books next year.
You have a lot of free money.
So possibly you have that money to offer to Framber Valdez. And B, I just think that he feels comfortable in Houston. He knows that he has these issues. He has I don't want to call it the yips, but he has something that's preventing him from that he wants to be where he's comfortable. And if he's going to go somewhere else where he may not be treated the same way, he may be a little bit apprehensive on that. So I think that Framber Valdez is going to do what it takes to get the job done. But is he going to be the highest paid pitcher out there? No, there's other names that deserve that. Now, if he goes out there and wins the Cy Young this year, that's a different story.
Yeah, he's going to have to go out there and really honestly have probably the best year that he's had of his career for that to happen. I think he gets between 25 and 30. He's all about La Grasa. He's all about the flow. He's all about the look. And I think he's endeared himself to the Houston Astros. And to me, a lot of these guys like a Framber Valdez, because we did bring him up from a tip that a scout told one of our scouts, you owe me a look at this guy. And they went and looked at him. And he was one of the arms that we've turned into gold. I mean, he's kind of one of the golden eggs that we've been able to see hatch before our eyes and have this really, really solid career, Eric. But with that being said, the outfield is the chagrin of Astros Nation. The Astros fans hate talking about the outfield. And it's funny, as I'm posting different players to put in the outfield, discount options, realistic options, people are like, we need a right fielder, not a left fielder. And I'm like having to pull up Dana Brown quotes. I'm like, well, Dana Brown said they have a spot in left field open. So go talk to Dana, argue with your GM about who needs to be in right and left field. But there are three names, Eric, that I think make sense financially that could come in and have, I wouldn't say an instant impact, but they would help lessen the blow of who you have out there. And these are the three that we're picking on tonight. And I'm going to show the graphic. Jesse Winker, Randal Grichuk, and Alex Verdugo. I'll go over their numbers in a minute. Eric, you got 5 seconds to decide. You got to pick one of these three. Who are you going with?
Put the numbers back up again. I mean, just looking at numbers of games played, and he's from this area, I would go with Grichuk. But
yeah, Grichuk. 200 plus home runs, 1,000 hits, 14.6 WAR. Yeah. On base percentage is not the best. It's 300. Winker's got the highest OBP. His OPS plus is 104. You would want it to be higher, but I like Grichuk, Eric. And but these are names that we're having to look at because I think Profar is pricing himself out year wise and how much he's going to want.
I got two names that could top those guys. You ready?
Okay.
Taylor Trammell and Cooper Hummel. Oh yeah, I just topped them.
You went with, okay, I understand Taylor Trammell. You just went with Cooper Hummel. Okay. Well, let me give you some key things on Jesse Winker, because I think he has an interesting case. Okay. And this is his fit for the Astros. And tell me what you think. He's excellent. He's got excellent on-base skills. Okay. He's got power from the left side. He's effective against right-handed pitchers. He could help balance a lineup that leans a heavily right-handed lineup. The concerns: defensive limited, primarily suited for left field or DH roles. Now, how he fits the Astros, if they're looking to improve offensive production at DH or in a corner outfield spot, they can live with his defensive limitations. He's a good option. He's left-handed bat, and he would complement the lineup well. What do you think about Winker?
I know that he's a former top prospect. I know that he would be a guy the Astros would definitely, depending on the price, would take a risk on. I mean, not that he's a risk, but I think that he's the type of all these guys would fit in with the Astros. And the Astros right now, unless you're expecting a great spring training from Pedro Leon or Kennedy Corona is coming off a bad season in the minors last year, or expecting somebody to just shine that's never really shined before in Taylor Trammell, you really need to get some more depth. And that's what the Astros should be looking at. And I wouldn't expect a big splash. I think they made big splash.
No, and that's why. So we'll talk about these other two guys. I'll break down Verdugo's fit and Grichuk's fit after these messages.
Hey guys,
So
thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check us out. And somebody was asking before the break about Trey Cabbage. Trey Cabbage is playing overseas now. He's no longer an option for the Astros.
yeah, he's no longer an option. So Alex Verdugo, the guy that I think Astros fans, I've been told by many, they don't like the guy. He doesn't set well with them. Okay. His strengths, he's a well-rounded player. He's got strong contact skills, good defense, versatility. He can play all three outfield positions. He's best suited for the corner. So we're looking for a left field or a right field guy. He has a solid arm and he adds consistency to the lineup. He can hit. Now he does have less power than both Grichuk and Winker, but he also he hits doubles. He is a home run threat, I think, at Minute Maid Park. And here's how he fits with the Astros. He's got solid defense, offensively balanced game. He offers versatility, and he could solidify left or right field while contributing quality at bat. So Alex Verdugo, I think he's a realistic option. May not be your favorite option, but,
Yeah. And any of those guys, depending on how long you have to sign them, I think all of them will be trying to prove something. Maybe you can get one or two of them for a 1 or 2 year deal. It wouldn't cost a lot. I know Profar is a name that you've been bringing up a lot, and it's kind of surprising that he has not been signed by any team because of his versatility. But there has to be some type of reasoning behind it. I think because, and this is why I was worried about when you kept on bringing him up. Last year, he only got paid $1 million. And so teams are like, oh, we could get a deal with Profar. But he's like, no, did you see what I did last year? He wants some big star money now that he's actually producing it. So that's why I think the Astros are probably would be out on somebody like Profar.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the hometown hero himself, Randal Grichuk, who, he's from Richmond. He brings power, the ability to play, again, all three outfield positions. His concerns, like I mentioned earlier, is his lower on-base percentage. He's very streaky, so he is more of a power bat than a consistent hitter, so you're hoping that he hits tanks rather than gets on base. If they need power and outfield depth, he's a solid piece. Now, here's the deal. This is why you choose Jesse Winker if you're prioritizing offense, especially at DH or corner outfield. If you need a two-way player, Verdugo brings a combination of both good defense and offense and a great overall approach at the plate. And then if you're looking for depth and power, that's your guy, Randal Grichuk, because he offers that versatility. He could be cost-effective option in filling the gaps in the lineup. So I think those three, and the reason why I'm bringing these three, Eric, and the reason why I'm bringing these three to our listeners and our viewers is because we don't want to lead y'all down Primrose path. We've talked a lot about, what ifs, like who could we get? Could we go out and get Santander? Could we go out and get these different guys? Well, no, we're not going to get them. We're not going to re-sign Bregman. We're not going to bring back, Kyle Tucker after next year. I mean, there's all these things out there that people are speculating. What I wanted to do tonight was focus on three really good options, and Taylor Trammell is another option. But who knows? Maybe DeCenzo shines in spring training. Wouldn't you want one of your guys to not have to go out? But I still think you have to bring in somebody to compete. You have to have competition. You have to have a veteran to come in there. And who knows? One of these guys could be the shiny new toy of 2025. And I mean, it's a low risk, high reward. I say, why not?
I think DeCenzo definitely has the tools. Can he transition to an everyday outfielder? That's up to debate right now. And Pedro Leon, let's not overlook him. Yes, he didn't give a lot of time last time to shine, but yes, he's very strikeout prone. But this is a guy that up through the minor leagues, we've heard that once this guy gets up here, he's going to be able to do something. So during spring training, if you don't have anybody, if the Astros are where they are right now, you're going to see a lot of Pedro Leon. You'll probably see a lot of Kennedy Corona. You're going to see them try to piecemeal this outfield together, because unless somebody stands up and says, I volunteer to be tribute, Everybody's going to be doing this Hunger Games until they decide who wants to be the outfielders, because I know it's not going to be a lot of Alvarez, especially after towards the end of the last season, he started having the knee issues. So he's going to be playing a lot of the infield. DH. And so we don't know what's going to happen. Cooper Hummel, I wouldn't put too much confidence in him. He hasn't done much in his career. And so Taylor Trammell, this is a guy that would be nice to break out, but can't be a guy you're going to count on.
No. And none of these names that we mentioned are the answer, are the keys to the kingdom.
It could be. Leon could be. Corona could be. Are they the answer right now? We don't know.
I have a hard time believing that they could be at this point. I think if they could be, I think they already would be.
Yeah.
I just think Leon, with as much as you sign him for $4.1 million signing bonus, you paid a ton of money for this kid. He had a lot of promise, 5-tool player, 5-tool prospect out of Cuba, and just has absolutely not done it with the bat until this last season in AAA. And at the end of the day, I think some of that might have had to do with who he had in the lineup. And maybe I think there were a lot of AAA pitchers who maybe the top prospects weren't in AAA this year. The pitching's actually better in AA. But Eric, as this team sits right now, if they don't make any moves, I think this team at best wins the West. But the more, because I've been looking into the Rangers lineup, and they've got some young guys like Langford out in left field. They've got some people to be afraid of. And that's why I've said in this division, I think it's the Astros and the Rangers are going to be battling again for the top spot. I have not seen Seattle do a thing. I know Seattle's in on the Roki Sissoko talk just because of their Japanese heritage with Ichiro Suzuki and all that stuff. But I don't see this team going beyond winning a division in the first round of the playoffs if they don't get additional help. They've got to get help in the outfield, Eric. How far do you see this roster going? Do you see this roster? I mean, I think we could catch lightning in a bottle and get to the ALCS, get past the wild card, get past the ALDS. But a lot of things have to go right, and you have to have guys step up and almost have, I hate to say it, breakout years or second breakout years. You know what I'm saying?
Looking out second mortgage basically on their career.
Exactly.
So the problem is, if you don't address the outfield situation now, you're not going to be able to do it at the trade deadline because your farm system is already weak. And if you trade from that, then you're gonna weaken your your farm system further. So if there are free agents out there that would help you, just remember how that. Remember the Braves, they went out and traded for all these backup guys, all these guys that nobody was like, oh, those guys aren't going to help them go out and win the World Series. But they beat the Astros with that ragtag group of Adam Duvall, Soler, those guys. And that's what the Astros need to look for, are those guys. Then not the stars, but just a guy that's just a guy. Until you have one of the young guys.
But that's the thing. We have an outfield full of Jags. They're just a guy. We don't need just a guy.
No, we don't have that, Brett. We don't even have just a guy unless we have.
Wait, hold on. You're not going to give Chas McCormick and Jake Myers top 3 in the Gold Glove voting. You're saying not even
hitter wise.
Oh, hitter wise. Oh, okay. Well, you don't even think they're just a guy? I mean,
they're below.
Man.
I mean,
Eric,
what they did last year. I mean, Chas McCormick, that whole year when we're saying play Chas, he looked like he was about to break out. Then last year he took a step back.
I picked the wrong night to tell Chaz to listen to our show, didn't I?
Yes.
I'm messing with you. I'm giving you a hard time. No, but I think they are more than that. I think this next year, you can't go down any more than you were. I think they can only go up. Now, someone is saying our best outfielder RBI-wise was Jake Meyer. He was 62 RBI. That's not terrible. It's better than nothing. Mm-hmm. But Chaz has got a hit, man. He's got to hit those Oppo home runs. You got to hit those Oppo tacos. So, Jason Hayward's still out there. Gammel's still out there. Greg Little says, Brett, they are awful. See, it's a bleak outlook. And Chaz was dealing with injuries last year. Okay, we'll give him that. And Jay Roberts says it's a sad state of affairs. Hey, guess what though? Eric will be back. We've got at least one shoot. Dude, I say we got at least 2 more shows in us before the new year. But we're going to do a year in review New Year's Eve night on the 31st. We may record it early because I'm going to a destinations unknown, to launch mega fireworks. So that's going to be a blast. You got any plans New Year's Eve?
Yeah, I think we're going to my fiance's sister's house. So yeah.
Okay. Are y'all doing fireworks?
I don't know if we're doing fireworks, but we're doing a party into the night. So
it's party into the Eric, the party animal. Ow, that's right, man. Eric, the man Heisman, party animal.
Hopefully, I'm done with my antibiotics by then. But
forget that, dude. Hey, dude, chasers, man.
Hey guys, that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check us out. We'll be back with another show sometime this week. And thank you for helping us get to where we are in 2024. Continue supporting us in 2025 as we go through whatever's in store for us with this Astros team, without Bregman, without with what else? What other guys we got? So
Kyle
guys
Tucker is gone.
Oh, Kyle Tucker. I couldn't remember him.
Eric already forgot him. Wow.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Guys, that's all we got. We'll see you later.
Goodbye. Can't believe you forgot the King Tuck. Come on, man.